Hello, beautiful people of Earth. It has been a while. So sorry about that. I've got a bunch of stuff to catch up on with you. Let's start with one theme today. I seem to have a lot of prodigy kids in my life currently, which frankly is super cruel. Because when I was a kid, I asked the universe, I'm a prodigy, right? And the universe is like, fuck off. You're all right. So I'm super jealous, but I think it's amazing. And on that note, this one video is dedicated to Elijah, who is my father's brother's daughter's son. I don't know why we ended up down here, but because he's, incredible. Haven't even met him. These are just intuitions and anecdotes and facts and this anecdote, well, actually it's going to follow because of course I got to start with a real downer. I was kind of violently kicked out of my father's family when I was very young, and that happened because when he died, his ex-business partner, who was always in love with his ex-wife, who my father was not a fan of. I don't know why he married her, but it was a famous story in the family that he did not like her. Not just according to my mother, who became his wife. But, what the hell am I saying? All right, after he died, got a cold. His ex-business partner and his ex-wife and their two adopted, one of their adopted daughters, my half sister, kind of conspired to take as much of the estate from my mother and me as possible, and that's in the book, and it's a convoluted story. But this is step one because the half sisters never thought I was his actual kid. That's also convoluted to do with the birth certificate and name I had on there, and there's no doubt that I'm this dude's kid and these two's kid. In fact, when I finally met my half sisters as an adult in my 40s, they were like, their instant reaction was like they were looking at a ghost. It was intense. All right, so this was confirmed in my early 20s when I very foolishly got in touch with my father's sister, Sylvia, looking for help finishing a movie I was working on. And she, I very distinctly remember on the phone, says, "Well, Christopher, we've never considered you part of the family." And that was as devastating as it sounded. And it's really just about that. I thought my mom was a gold digger and I wasn't his son. So that's a hellish part of my psychology, and it took me a long time to come to terms with it. In fact, I never doubted whose kid I was ever, and I had to entertain the thought just because it's like just to be empathetic with their point of view. But that never weighed on me much. Not having a father or mother did, and then this horrible loss of a half a family did. Oh, right. Okay, the point of bringing that up first is because, again, this anecdote's in the book too, but by book I mean Leap on a Brink number 5 in stores next year. Okay, so maybe 2001, I was convinced once again to go to Florida to come to a family thing. And I mentioned to my mother I was going to New York. I don't even know why I was going to New York. But she says, "Oh, you should look up Lawrence Fink. He was the artist in the family." I was going to put up a bit from the book from this. Anyway, whether I have or not, my response was, "Who? What are you talking about? I'm the artist in the family. How dare you?" And it turned out, oh, right. And then, oh, shit, I got to put this stuff up because it's kind of interesting. I mean, hence why it's in the book. But I was having lunch with a friend downtown, and we went into the MoCA Museum of Contemporary Art's bookstore. And on the way into the bookstore, there was like a, tattered book sale on a cart. And I could remember seeing on the side of the book jacket the name Larry Fink. And I'm like, oh, I've never seen Fink on anything in the world ever since Barton Fink, and that didn't change anything. But I'm like, wow, well, I guess we could be successful too. So I go inside and I say, hey, do any of you know anything about this Larry Fink character? And they're like, oh, yes, he's blue. They were super enthusiastic about him. I'm like, no, like biographical stuff. And one of them was like, yeah, I think he teaches at Bard College. And I'm like, okay, that's plenty to go on. So I emailed that department. And by the way, it was this book. Gorgeous. There's no denying that dude's talent. Though I've tried. So I send this email saying, blah, 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 do you know, and I list down all our relatives. And I get a call shortly after that from a woman named Martha who has a bunch of questions for me. And I'm like, who is this? Oh, I thought it might be like his assistant or whatever, right? I didn't know who this was. And her final question was, how did your father die? And I'm like, that's so specific. What a weird... And I've never been shy sharing information, obviously. And I say, like, well, he died in a car accident on the way back from my father's funeral. And that kicked off something in her head, I guess, because she's like, let me call you right back. And 30 seconds later, I answer the phone and I hear, Cousin Fink! And, I was just like, oh. It was amazing. And she was this excited, and she's like, oh, Larry's going to be, he really needs some family right now. I remember being so kind of crushed by that. I mean, not irrationally, but just like such a strange reaction, because she meant it with all love in the world for Larry and for the situation, all the stuff. But it's like, I need family, right? Anyway, I was invited to Thanksgiving, which was very generous and sweet of them that year. 2003, right? Which led to this lovely photograph. Now, here we go. Oh, shit, I can't remember the order. I hope I'm pointing at Elizabeth Fink, who was the lead attorney in the Attica trial, which, look up. I got some badass relatives. She was amazing. She's passed. I really regret not spending more time with her and talking to her more. She's awesome, impressive. And Larry's in one of these, and I'm in one of these. I think Molly is also here, who's the daughter of Larry, and a famous painter. Oh no! Oh my God! How embarrassing! Joan Snyder. Some of her work. She also appears in the book because of a very funny exchange we had. Anyway, this was lovely, having a connection again to a side of the family I knew nothing about, had anything about. It was kind of funny that Larry really only wanted to talk about his mother, which gave me no insight into the Fink family. But, Larry's a very interesting dude. Which brings us to the reason for this anecdote. The name of this video, I pitched to Molly, hoping it wasn't too weird or inappropriate. And she had a real, her reaction destroyed me, because she was like, it's too, I knew it's an unusual thing. Anyway, I don't know if she wrote back soon after, or I said something and then she wrote back, but she mentions that her son saw it and said, oh, Larry would love that. And I'm like, your kid's 9 or 10? Well, how in the world did your kid get so sophisticated already that he'd get that? Oh my God, it blew it was so cool. And she's like, he's 10 going on 100. I'm like, sounds like 1,000. Anyway, I then explained more because my original thought for this was uh, Fink is dead, long live Fink, in the way the king is dead, long live the king. And I was thinking about myself because if you knew Larry, he had a gargantuan ego. Mine isn't small either, but you know, the dude, I guess, earned it. I don't know. It was out of control. It was humorously large. Anyway, I explained to Molly like, you know, your dad is his ego's crazy. So I meant like, you know, he's the king, and then we're the new royalty, and we're gonna move on from that. And she's like, oh, duh, of course I get it. I think that was the whole exchange, more or less. Um, oh, and I think I added, and in fact, I wish, because I was across the country recently, and it was like a 5 hour drive to go visit her, but I really should have. And in fact, I was there. Oh my God, that's the point of this fucking anecdote. What is wrong with me? I was gonna go visit Larry and Martha, his wife, who, for my money, is the real talent in the family. And Martha, I hope you're watching. I mean, I don't know if you watch these, but if you do, I'm serious. Like, your sculpture is phenomenal. It's totally, as far as I understand in that world, underrated and underappreciated. But you know, photography is beautiful and amazing, and you got to be in the right place for it. You got to have intuition. You got to have mechanical skill. It's an art. It's beautiful. It's incredible. But like, it's the lazy genius's art. Come on, your stuff is but hard, phenomenal, beautiful shit. Anyway, um, that wasn't because Martha and I have had a difficult relationship, by the way. Seriously, I mean and meant that. Okay, so the fuck am I talking about now? Oh, right, I was gonna go visit him because I knew he was dying, and I had just learned how bad it was, and I was like, fuck. That was like 7 or 8 days out that I was gonna be there, and didn't make it, or did I? No, I definitely didn't. He died before I even got on the plane, and that's another video, by the way, of traveling. Oh, I'm not wearing my stuff. It's just a temporary break. By the way, speaking, rest in peace, Larry. Beautiful, interesting, curious, lovely, complicated, talented dude. He's got a retrospective book coming up by Powerhouse. Let me. There's no way I'm going to do justice to this guy's career and skill set. There's a lot about him and me, and just him in my book. So. In fact, well, yeah, whatever. He deserves plenty of videos. But it was nice being a Fink again, and that meaning something. And I hope Molly and I continue to, keep that name powerful and strong. For I didn't want to mention this because I don't want to be sued or killed. But the more famous Larry Fink is a very different animal. So if you look up Larry Fink online, it's not the guy from BlackRock. It's the famous photographer. Okay. Yeah, I got to mention, I had an MRI like a week, whatever, not too long ago. I've been wearing that. Oh, that's why, because I was mentioning the device. I've been wearing that device. I'm at 87%, which they say is super high. I can wear it 3 days in a row, and I sleep in it. I wear it constantly throughout that time. It's off now just because I'm changing things, and I'm going out tonight to sister's happy hour. I did a lot of driving on that trip across the country, so I'm driving pretty regularly still. Yes, but good news is, where is it? I think it's here. Anyway, my new tumor, which I showed last time, shrank a little. But I mean, there's no better news for a fucking brain cancer patient when your tumor is stable. That's phenomenal. There's no new tumors. That's double supersonic. But your tumor shrank. I mean, that's like fucking lottery step. Well, whatever. Lottery is your tumor's gone. But I don't think that's happened yet. Okay, meaning to any brain cancer survivor. Well, that's a positive note to end on. Let's do that. Oh, God, I got a million things to share with you guys, and I will try to stay on schedule, if not give you some extra stuff. Art too. And probably the biggest news, ignoring the death of a super talent and my health, is I submitted my fucking work, my life's work, 40 plus years of work in this little envelope. No, this fat padded envelope. And, you know, I'm sure it's going to take till after the holidays to hear a real substantial reply, but wish me luck, guys. I love you all. Take care of yourselves and other people if you can, and I'll talk to you soon.